Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Oddity Shop. I hope you are having a at least just okay, if not wonderful day. I'm sitting here with Kara. I'm Zach, and Kara, how's your day going?
You just had to
I had to ask. I knew it was going to be a loaded question today.
Okay, well, I'm just going to start this. It wasn't a bad day. It was just a very hectic day at work. Very busy, and I'm just all hyped up and nerved up because of Christmas coming up and all the things I have to do. And now we have a snowstorm coming, and it throws a wrench in all this stuff. And we've been so ahead of our episodes that have already been recorded, and we've been so on top of everything, and we're not behind, but we were borderline going to be behind. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I finished my episode and I'm all pumped, and I'm like, yeah, we're recording on Wednesday and I have Thursday off. And I'm like, this is going to be great. I can get all my stuff done. And I think my brain glitched and was like, yeah, you're recording Wednesday. And I was thinking Thursday, I have time to type the episode that I wrote that I'm recording Wednesday. Therefore, my episode for today is not typed. So I write everything out in a notebook and it's all jumbled all over the place. And then I type it up nicely so that I can read it to you. So you're going to get my jumbled up version today. And hopefully I can read through my jumbled thoughts and make it make sense. So that's where I'm at.
I already know I'm getting the jumbled up version today because all I said was, how's your day going? And that's what I got. Also, for everyone who doesn't know, which none of you listening would know, Kara is so all over the place that she has called me 5 times in the last hour and 15 minutes about every random thing going on.
It honestly might be less than an hour.
It very well could be. I love you, but I want to cut you. It's a good thing we sit on separate sides of the state and there's a snowstorm coming.
Your main present came today and I'm pretty pumped. So there's that.
I've got all your presents wrapped and everything ready to go, except for one. One is still coming.
Okay, I have all of your other ones wrapped. This was the last one, and then I'm waiting for one more kind of last minute one that necessarily isn't a Christmas present, but you'll get them all together anyway. But anyway, okay, so real quick, because I don't think people know this, because why would they? I don't think we've ever talked about it. You do all the editing because you're wonderful. So you listen to us.
I was going to say, you do all the social media, which I want no hand in. So appreciate you for that.
Correct. So if you talk on social media, it's most likely me. And if you want to yell at Zach for any of the editing or anything, that's that. But what I was going to say is I don't listen to everything like you do, like uncut and raw and stuff. I don't have to deal with that, thank gosh. So you do all that. So you listen to us over and over again and you get annoyed and you're just like done by the time the episode gets posted. You're just like, I've listened to it like 400 times.
Yep.
I will listen to it the day that it gets released to everybody. I'll listen to it in the morning while I'm doing the social media for that episode. So it's kind of like a thing I do. I listen to it while I'm doing the social media. So what I am trying to get to is that every time I listen to an episode, I can't help but laugh because people have to think that we hate each other.
I mean, are they wrong?
Right. The way we speak to each other is so mean and like short. It's
I just feel like though in general, our love languages is being mean. So like, if you were being really nice to me one day, I would honestly be worried.
Something's wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But it's funny because, you'll be telling me a story, right? And then I'll be like, oh, okay, I don't even know an example. And then you'll just be like, yeah, And then you'll just continue on. And if you're an outsider and you don't know us, I feel like that has to be so funny. Like, did these people even like each other? And I just had to put that in there because every time I listen, I laugh so hard. And I'm like, is this...
I think they're going to know, though, because last week you spent the end of the episode telling me I'm your soulmate. So they have to know we like each other a little bit. And
I stick by that. Okay, well, anyway, that's all about me and that rant. How was your week? I know your week's not good.
Work's been actually pretty decent this week. The only thing is like, I was going to go home on Friday for Christmas, and now we have the snowstorm coming in. So all day I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to like get all my chores done, get everything packed so I can beat the storm tomorrow. Thank God my boss is just like, absolutely get home, and I'm just going to skip the morning. I'm just so ready for like the holidays to be over and it to get back to like being chill.
Same. Mm-hmm. So what time are you leaving tomorrow? You never told me.
Like between 6:30 and 7.
Ugh.
I don't get up before 8:30. Like that doesn't happen. So we'll see how it goes.
I know. Well, I'm up at 7 every day, so I'll call you.
Perfect.
Make sure you're good. Okay. Is there anything else that hold on. I think I might have had. I heard this was specifically on the Two Girls, One Ghost podcast. And I was like, I've never thought about this. And it made me like change everything. Okay. Bigfoot. Nobody ever really sees him, right? Like he's big, or Yetis, whatever. Yeah, they can probably run really fast, but you'd like really hear them. So if like you're out and like they're trying to hide, like how do they hide, right? One of the girls on the podcast had a theory that trees are like portals and they can like portal through each tree. I was like, that's genius though. It's just like a portal, like any other portal. And if you think about it, like trees are nature. Like nature is like the most spiritually
but I feel like portals are for like things like ghost and like.
Well, you can't think of it that way.
I don't think Bigfoot's phasing through trees.
Whatever. I thought it was genius because I'm like, that's how you never see him. Is that he's just like, oh, and then like touches a tree and it like pops him to a different part in the woods.
No, bro, cave systems for sure.
There's not always a cave around.
You don't know that.
I thought you'd be on board with this one with me, and I'm mad at you.
It's okay. You can be mad at me. Do you have a legit question, or are we just going into the episode today?
That was my question that you ruined.
Oh, I mean, caves. Caves is my answer. What are we talking about today?
Oh, wait, I do have one thing.
God.
See
how like I said about the 6 calls earlier? It's just, one more thing.
Because this is the problem is that I've had to open up a note app or the note app on my phone, and I have to write things to remind myself to talk to you about, because I don't want to talk to you about them normally, because I'm like, oh, I could talk to you about this on the podcast. It makes sense. And I don't want it to be not genuine. So have you seen the trailer for that movie, Megan? It's making me sweat thinking.
I want to see it so bad, but Nick, he ruined it for me in the way of like, did you see the dancing scene in the trailer? That's all I can focus on.
No.
Okay, there's a longer trailer.
Oh, maybe. Okay, because I've just watched little blurps like on Instagram or whatever, reels.
Yeah, she does this dance and I can't. But, okay, real quick. And then I swear to God, we're going to get into this episode. Have you watched Dubai Bling yet?
You already know the
Okay,
answer
so it's
to
like
this.
the Real Housewives of Dubai. It's trash TV. It's amazing. But there's one girl on there. Her name is LJ, and she looks exactly like Megan.
Ew.
It's creepy. It's weird. Speaking, though, of creepy and weird, what are we talking about?
Evil Gnomes. This has me so incredibly, I don't even know what the word is.
Evil Gnomes.
This one was requested by Lynn because this really creeps her out. Like, she is like, this is the one thing that sets her over. Like, she grew up in haunted houses. She's all into that supernatural stuff. She's whatever, but this is what scares her. And honestly, I really have to agree. Give me a ghost, a vampire, a cryptid, psychos. But this is where I'm like, nope.
Like, are we talking about garden gnomes? Like regular gnomes?
Like, all right, let me just, okay.
All right.
Picture this. It's 2004. Okay, you move into a beautiful farmhouse, okay, with your family, and it's located in Porterville, California.
Ooh.
Just off, I think it's the Tool River. It's a Tool River? Sure, we're going with that. Okay, so it's just off the river. It's beautiful. Farmhouse. Are you picturing it?
I'm picturing it in my head.
I think this sounds perfect, so whatever. Okay, but we don't do perfect here, clearly. All right, right away, the home just like doesn't feel like a home. That's how you feel, at least. On the property, you have a barn. It's on 100 acres. So on this 100 acres, the barn is like in the back corner. Okay. It's kind of secluded. It doesn't really sound like this barn was like utilized really at all. So it's old, rundown, rickety, and you feel the most uneasy about your new home when you're by the barn. To make the odder, none of your animals will go near the barn. And in fact, like, they act bizarre if they do go by it.
Well, that kind of beats the purpose of having a barn in the first place.
Right. So the dogs are kind of the ones that like will kind of brave and go by it. But when they do, they just go insane and they're like growling, barking, like yipping. You know when dogs do that weird yipping?
Yeah.
That. So can you imagine? You're like, what is wrong with it? Now, personally, me, I would just like tear down the barn. If you're not using it and you're afraid of it, get rid of it. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's like expensive to do too, though.
Get a sledgehammer and just hammer it. Anyway, so this is the experience that Tammy had immediately after taking residence in her new home. Well, I guess what would you do then? You're just going to leave the barn and just let it?
I mean, if it's on the back of 100 acres and I could just ignore it, I'd probably just ignore the issue.
Okay. So Tammy attributed this to being just like unnerved about her new home. You know, it kind of makes sense because new homes have new sounds and smells and feels. So it kind of makes sense. She contributed the creepy barn to having like rats or rodents in it. And that's why all the animals were kind of acting weird, which I will say that like our little barn that we have, like Delilah goes crazy if you say you want to go to the barn because there's like chipmunks that live under the ramp. So I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Whatever. I don't know. However, she starts to kind of change tune when all of her animals start to go missing. But again,
were they in the barn?
No, just like her random animals around her property.
Okay.
So again, she kind of has to like, you know, comfort herself, and she assumes that either they ran away or coyotes killed them. That's that, right? I guess I could get down to all of that. It's a new house, new sounds, smells, weird things. The barn's haunted. Something's wrong with it. Stay away from it. Fine. I can get down on that. This is where I am done. I close up shop. And as Kristen Cavallari would say, Dunzo.
I hate you.
Okay. So one evening, Tammy and her son returned from grocery shopping. And I know everyone can picture this. You pull into the driveway, you get out of the car, you pop the trunk, and you're just like unloading your groceries.
In one trip. We don't make second trips.
Absolutely. Never.
Bags
never.
up and down the arms.
It's like bruised after you're done and it hurts so bad.
The worst though is when you realize that you forgot to take your key out of your pocket to
get in the house.
Ready to get in the door. Yeah.
You know what doesn't make sense is that first off, why do we do that? Because it made sense like when I lived in an apartment, like on the third floor, because I didn't want to go up and down. But now I literally like my garage is right off the kitchen. It's like it's not even a big deal, but I'm not doing it. Okay.
No, one trip.
Anyway, so yeah, parks the car. She's getting the groceries and she sees movement out of the corner of her eye. We already know how this makes us all feel. It's unsettling. You turn, you look, there's nothing there. Cool. So she continues to get her groceries and then she hears, first she thinks she sees something again. Okay. And she hears a sinister laugh. Okay.
No.
You see something, you look, there's nothing there. You go back, you think you see something again, and in your brain, you're like, no, there's nothing there. I just did this. Yet now you're hearing a freaking laugh, like a creepy little laugh. Again, I'm donezo. No.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So Tammy and her son see what is described as a humanoid 3-foot creature with deep set, dead black eyes. It's man-like with a beard, baggy pants, a gold shirt, and a red pointy hat.
Do you feel the most powerful and beautiful with the elements of the earth around you? Do you like one-of-a-kind jewelry? Do you sometimes feel like a woodland fairy? Me too. That's why I created Holly and Hemlock, a magical shop filled with handmade wooden jewelry and metaphysical tools. Come check out our enchanting wooden wares at www.hollyhemlock.com. And join us in honoring the magic and beauty of nature with each unique creation. That's www.hollyhemlock.com.
I cannot.
This is straight out of R.L. Stine Goosebumps. Doesn't it give you that vibe?
Yes, but it's like so screwed up. I wouldn't even know what to do.
I'm just hearing the theme song in my head, like, do, 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 do.
I love Goosebumps.
So good.
Okay, so at this point, obviously, they run into the house, right? Like, they're like, screw the groceries. They run into the house. Some articles say that this thing is chasing them, which, either way, they run to the door, they get in.
Okay, are they in their garage, or was that just you saying you had?
Oh, they're not in a garage. I was just saying.
So they're outside.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so they have to like run to the door. Well, from what I've read.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think she has 2 daughters. They're in the house. So it's her and her son, right? They're running. They're in the house and she's shuts the door. She locks the door. She's panicking. She's trying to explain to her other daughters what's happening. And they can just hear this thing outside cackling.
Nope.
There's something so unsettling about when somebody's really, really terrified and there's laughing involved. Like when you're that scared and something's laughing at you, it's like a whole other level to me. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's just
evil.
Yes, it's not okay. So at this point, she can see like movement by the window. So like when they looked out the window, they could see the top of his pointy hat. And this is where it's like really, I have goosebumps. But they said that this was really, really odd. Not that this isn't all odd, but they said that this part was really odd because the window was like 8 feet above the ground. So this little shit crawled up the house.
So it's like crawling and hanging from the windowsill?
I guess, because how else would they see the top of his hat? He's only 3 feet tall.
Maybe he had stilts.
No, he doesn't have stilts. How would he get them in time?
I don't know. How did gnomes come to life in the first place?
Okay, anyway, this has me so upset. I'm like sweating. My hands are like clammy. Okay, so whatever, they can see it. Okay, so Tammy takes her family far away from the windows and they kind of waited out for a long time, like an hour or more, until they're like sure that this thing is gone. They don't even want to go by the windows, which I don't blame them.
Yeah,
I'd be freaking, I don't even know what I would do. So I guess thankfully this is the only time that the family actually sees this thing. However, they continue to hear the same evil laugh coming from the barn.
Burn it.
That's what I'm saying. Why? I don't understand why this barn still exists. Well, what would you do?
I just said I'd burn it.
Yeah. Okay. Tammy states that she now knew where her poultry did and continues to disappear too. So this thing was freaking eating all her little animals.
Oh, so it was chickens.
Yeah.
So maybe Chupacabra found a hat.
It doesn't look like a man with a beard though and baggy pants. I mean, otherwise I would say yeah, probably. Okay, so then after that unsettling feeling of like every noise that they heard, every time the dogs bark, it just made the creature more real. You know, because they thought they were going crazy.
Right.
I mean, I would too. Like, what? Like, what in the world? Okay, I just would never let my animals outside, like the dogs. My kids would never be allowed to play outside. Like, no. And also, why do you think it only showed itself once? That's even creepier.
I don't feel like I can answer that.
I know, but isn't that more creepy that they just saw it one time and then they just like hear it?
So, I mean, that leads me to think, is it actually the gnome or did something jump? Did they have garden gnomes?
No. Okay, you just wait.
Okay. All right, go on.
Okay. Like we've talked about before, it's not as easy to just like pick up and leave, especially if you're like a single mother with children. Like I'm sure it's not, I shouldn't even say I'm sure. I know it's probably not as easy to do this, but I don't know if I could live here. I still can't get a grasp on this. This one really, if you can't tell, I feel very jumbled even talking about it because it's just so unnerving to me. I think I would set up like bear traps. But then I was thinking this thing is probably smart and it would probably just move the bear trap to where you get hurt. Yeah, if it's a
humanoid.
Yeah, like I'm picturing that, like, you know, she'd just be like leaving one day, like, bye kids, and like she's like halfway out the door, but her head's like inside still, like, bye kids, love you, and then she turns and just steps into a bear trap because it's like now on the front porch. Anyway,
all right. So is she the only one seeing gnomes? Do we have?
Well, her son saw it.
Okay,
because it chased him. Okay, what is a gnome? I'm glad you asked. A gnome is a mythical.
It's like you read my mind.
Oh, it's Denise's favorite.
My mother loves gnomes.
Freaky little gnomes. Okay. Anyway, it's a mythical creature and a diminutive, which means small spirit in Renaissance magic. Along the way, gnomes' characteristics have changed to fit like the story, but generally they're a small humanoid that lives underground, and what's used to describe them is the fact, oh my God, the chicken scratch, it's really hard. A small humanoid that lives underground is what's used to describe them.
Perfect.
Do you want me to restart that whole sentence?
No, we're rolling with it.
Okay, fun fact. It became popular in the 20th century to use gnomes as lawn ornaments. Thus, the garden gnome was born.
Is there a reason, or?
You know, I tried to find it, and it just said it became popular, like decorating your lawn with gnomes. I have no idea. At least I couldn't find anything. I'm sure there is a reason, but I didn't see anything. Gnomes are often known to guard mines and underground treasure. Maybe it was like to guard your home or something.
Or caves.
With Bigfoot portals. In Swiss folklore, they have said to caused a landslide that destroyed the Swiss village of Pleurs in 1618. So basically, the villagers had become wealthy from a local gold mine created by the gnomes. So the gnomes poured liquid gold down into a vein. So a vein is like the veins that we have, but it's like what's formed into a rock. So they poured this gold down into there, okay? And then basically the gnomes were appalled at how the villagers like acted and like basically like just got corrupted by this wealth. So then they made a landslide and killed everybody.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm. So they might be little, but they can pack a punch.
Apparently so.
All right, let's go back. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, in 2010. So remember, they moved into that house in 2004.
Okay.
So in 2010, a new family moves in. So they lived there for quite a while, enduring this thing.
So for 6 years, they just heard giggling coming from the barn.
And then all their animals would die.
Oh, wonderful.
And then they would see that hat by their window. Okay, I would feel really awful. If I had a haunted house, I'd feel really awful like selling it. Because like now you know the next family is going to be haunted. Can you imagine selling this?
I mean,
I'd feel so
I've
bad.
worked in real estate long enough to know that you don't have to disclose.
I know, but wouldn't you feel bad? Oh, by the way, there's like a little evil gnome man that lives in that barn. Beware.
Homie, when you're selling, you're just trying to get the most bang for your buck. You're not going to mention the gnome. That's not going on a property disclosure.
You'd be like, yep, we're not talking about that. Zip your lip.
If I was the agent there too, I'd be like, yeah, so we're going to leave that part off.
Okay. Well, if you weren't already upset by this story, the new family has it way worse.
Oh, God.
I need a sip.
All right, I'm glad, though, because I thought you were really just going to tell me, like, one story of people seeing, a hat and hearing some laughter and call it a gnome, and no, I need more.
No, I didn't watch the episode, but my mom was the one that was telling me that family, that Tammy, she was actually on one of the haunted shows that we watch, and they did, like, this whole thing on this because it was, like, really messed up. Like, this thing tortured them, even though they only saw it once. Okay. Charlie Thomas fell in love with the house. And her husband liked the idea of the property and the pond so there was also a pond. I forgot to tell you that. So he liked that. Oddly enough, he decorated the property with fairies, gnomes, and toadstool ornaments.
Great. Okay.
So that's cute. And then he also filled the pond with koi fish, which I didn't know you could just put koi fish in a pond.
That's why they're called koi ponds.
But I thought they had to be like filtered correctly and like indoors.
Koi are, I mean, you have to have a filtration system, but yeah, they're basically giant goldfish.
I know that
they're
they
very
are
hardy.
I know, but I thought like you couldn't just put them in an outdoor pond.
Yeah, you can. In California, you couldn't in Michigan.
Oh, I guess that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You gotta have the weather for it.
That makes sense. I don't know anything about fish. Okay, Charlie also said that her family would stay clear of the barn as well. So they also had an eerie feeling of this barn, like right off the bat. But again, they weren't using it, so I guess whatever. But I just get rid of the barn. It really frustrates me. Okay, I need you to take this phrase in. Are you ready?
I guess.
Okay, ready? Raspy, gurgling, singing.
So what I imagine you sound like in the shower.
I don't sing in the shower. You probably do.
Yeah, that's probably more likely. All right, raspy, gurgling, singing.
Doesn't that sound really, really not okay?
I mean, I wouldn't want to listen to it.
All right, well, that is what woke Charlie and her husband up at 3 a.m. outside of their bedroom window. So they open the window, and in front of their pond is spot on what Tammy and her son had seen years prior. Only this time when it noticed the couple watching it, it pulled a koi out of the pond, swallowed it, and it was holding a gnome in the other hand.
Wait, the gnome was holding one of their
one
gnomes?
of his, yes!
Oh, he probably thought it was his buddy.
Maybe. Ew.
Okay.
Charlie says the most horrible thing about it was its small, beady eyes and jagged teeth. It was just sitting there. It didn't wasn't just eating dinner. It looked at them sinisterly, grabbed a koi, and slurped it back.
I'm just getting Gollum vibes.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Can you imagine looking outside of your window at 3 a.m. and witnessing that?
I mean, I'm not wealthy enough to have a koi pond. So it's
Raspy,
probably not gonna happen.
gurgling, singing.
What was it singing?
They don't know. It was like weird language.
I bet it was the Underpants Gnome song.
Okay.
We won't stop till we have underpants. Sorry, did you ever watch South Park? That's a really niche reference.
I'm hanging up.
But the gnomes collected underpants and they had a song about it.
I wish this was a phone call so I could hang up.
Like I did to you 6 times already today.
All right, so some articles say that Charlie's husband, I don't know why he doesn't have a name, but no article has his name. Some say that Charlie's husband had opened up the window and yelled at the thing, "I'm calling the cops." I don't know if the cops actually came, if he did that, I don't know. But either way, he did yell out. This is funny. He yelled out the window at this thing and it gave them the finger.
I love gnomes already. We're eating sushi. We're giving the finger.
Oh God. So again, I don't know if he actually called the cops if they came or whatever, but it said that like after they went out to like investigate around the pond, they saw just like little like child like footprints around like the muddy parts of the pond, like little tiny footprints. This is where it's just really like, So from this point on, it would consistently appear at the pond around 3 a.m., gurgling, singing, and slurping back koi.
He was hungry.
And then he would also, or it would also enjoy playing with the garden ornaments. But sometimes he would vandalize them. This is not what I would do in this scenario, but Charlie's husband got really fed up with this and he removed all of the lawn ornaments and removed all the fish from the pond, which I guess I understand doing that, but I don't.
I mean, koi can get very expensive.
Right, and just little things eating them. So, as you can imagine, at 3 a.m., its usual feeding time, it realizes what was done, and it is described as going into a crazed frenzy. It was yelling and screaming in an unrecognizable language. It then started running around the house, shaking the handles and banging on the doors.
Grubhub that little gentleman
Something.
Fish fries, some Jimmy John's. He's hungry.
It was said that Charlie was so afraid that it was going to get through the doggy door because they hadn't locked it, that she was running through the house trying to shut the doggy door to lock it. Because it was like running around the house, like frantically shaking all the handles of the doors.
I feel like I would just never feel safe if I had a doggy door.
No. There was one from the garage, from the backyard to the garage, and then into the garage into the house. And I was like, we're not doing that. Like, first off, Delilah would never use that, but that's creepy. And then it would just like sit under the window and it would just laugh sinisterly. And this continued to happen until they moved.
How long did they live there?
I don't know. I couldn't find that. I would imagine not that much longer after this, but can you imagine every single night at 3 a.m. this little shithead is just banging on your doors, screwing with your handles, and just laughing and like gurgling and singing and like, I'm sweating.
I mean,
it's not okay.
I can't imagine any of that, but
Ew. Okay, anyway, somewhere along the way, it was discovered before Charlie and Tammy had moved in that the previous owner, so this was now Charlie, Tammy, before them, I guess the previous owners also had issues. And I think they found this out when they did that TV show or whatever I was talking about.
Yeah.
They realized that they had issues, and so did some of the neighbors had like really weird things that were happening. Because, I mean, obviously this thing is probably bopping around. And then Tammy and Charlie actually got in contact with each other, and they actually visited the house after. And they said that when they got there, it was still the weird uneasiness when they saw the barn. Like, they were like, nope, so that barn is still there. They knocked on the door, and a woman answered. And when she was asked if she had any strange occurrences in the home, specifically around the barn, she demanded that they left. Like, she would not answer them. So she answered the door really nice and happy. And they're like, hey, like, we used to live here. Like, we're just wondering. She went, nope. And was just like, you have to leave. Get off my property.
I understand that people do that, like, when things are weird and creepy, but
I don't know. That kind of makes me think like.
So, I mean, okay, really quick side note. My family almost bought like a legit haunted house at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, articles and articles about this place being haunted. It's a giant bed and breakfast. And after my family decided not to buy it, right, this other family moved in. They restored it, and I remember calling one night and we're like, hey,
You would.
we want to, rent a room, blah, blah, blah. And then we had to poke the bear a little bit, and we're like, because we knew, I think they were like super religious or something.
Oh, Lord.
Do you see any like paranormal stuff that happened there? And the same thing. They went from being like really chill to we have no rooms, hung up. So I feel like when people like don't understand it, like they shut down, but I would want to understand it and talk to other people who had experiences and try to like figure out what the fuck is going
Exactly.
on.
I think this lady was just like, absolutely freaking not. Like, no, I'm not acknowledging it. Goodbye. So this is where at least like the knowledge of this creature ends. So I don't know, maybe the current owner that lives there, if it's still there, maybe hopefully the barn is like burned down by this point. But that's kind of where it ends. I couldn't really find anything else about any other families being like tormented by this little thing. And I was kind of thinking, it's like, I guess as long, maybe the current owner, that lady is just like, yeah, I feed it, I give it toys, and it's absolutely fine.
So did you find any other stories of
No,
like creepy gnomes?
Not
or
really.
Is this just like, okay.
Okay.
So here's my initial thought.
Okay. I'll hear yours, then I'm going to tell you mine.
So deep set black eyes, right? The sharp teeth, the being 3 foot tall. It gives me one of two things. It's either goblins, like we've talked about, or not really talked about on this, but you and I have talked about cave goblins.
Correct.
Or going back to the aliens, back to the Greys, right? And maybe like this thing saw garden gnomes and was
it like wanted to mimic something.
This is what lives here. So I'm gonna try to blend in.
That's a good thought. I didn't go that way.
Because there's a lot of other families, especially in like the Appalachian area, though, who describe very similar. They don't describe the singing or whatever, but the noises outside or like the creeping in the windows and walking around their house and like almost casing it in the middle of the night. That it gives me the vibes of that.
Okay. That's actually a really good point. I don't even know why I didn't think about that. Like something trying to mimic what it thinks. This is where my brain went. And the only reason my brain went this way is because that singing at a different, like unrecognizable language got me. Like it was humanoid enough that you were like, what is that? Like it's not like an animal just like making noises. It was like singing something. And I was thinking, what if it was a feral person? Like, what if it was a feral child at one point that's now grown because it has a beard? Maybe that's why its growth was stunted, or maybe it was just a little person. But I was thinking maybe it was like a feral child that just like grew up with nothing, doesn't know how to speak, right? Doesn't know how to talk. It's not going to look okay. Have you ever seen the movie Mama?
No, but I know of like there's been feral people.
No, I know. But what I was saying specifically is in this movie, they get into, I want to say it's like the family gets into a car accident. There's 2 little girls and they wander off into the woods because the parents die. And it's like years. Nobody can find them. These little kids wander off into the woods and they find an abandoned home. It's dumb. It ends up being haunted. This ghost takes care of them. It's weird.
Maybe I have seen that. That seems
it's actually
super oddly familiar.
It's kind of actually good. But they're basically like these feral children. And when they're eventually found, they go to live with like their aunt and uncle. And like the littler of the child, so the littler one of them.
Younger.
Well, I don't know if it was the littler or the older one. One of them is so not like cannot adapt to being an actual like human being. Like she can't grasp it. And it just makes me think that like if you're raised to not be with other people and you're all alone and isolated, like you would have your own language and be weird and creepy and eat fish out of the pond and play with the gnomes.
Maybe it's just a garden gnome coming alive at night.
I mean,
not quite garden gnome, but growing up, I was convinced that statues came alive at night. So there was one of my neighbors. Okay, so this was in high school. It was very rural.
Oh my God, I know what you're going to say.
But my family lived, like the houses in their area were kind of close together. We lived at the bottom of a old ski hill. And there was this like not ceramic, but like a cement gnome. No, God, I can't. Cement goat statue is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And every day it would be in a different position. Like, but not even just like a few feet. Like it'd be at the neighbors, or it'd be like at the bottom of the ski hill and move around. I'm like, that thing's fucking coming alive at night.
I have thought about this since you told me it, and who would live their life moving that thing? No
It
one.
was North Michigan. There was a lot of people who
No,
didn't have
it
things
was
to
moving
do.
itself. But anyway, that's where my thought was, is maybe it was like a feral child. Not that I can't believe in gnomes. I believe in so much that not that I can't believe in evil gnomes. I mean, I do believe it, but I was just thinking that, I mean, it kind of makes sense. If it was a little kid, I mean, I know it's probably grown, but it was like throwing temper tantrums because its toys were taken away. Like,
Or it's just Smeagol.
or yeah, it's just a little freaking goblin creature.
Interesting, though. That's creepy. I would be terrified if I saw something like eating my pets and
Okay,
trying to get in my doors.
Yes, ever since I started researching this, every time I open the patio door to let Delilah out, first off, I always look before I let her out. Like at night, when it's dark, I take a flashlight and I scope the backyard because I don't know, like something could get her. Now I'm freaking afraid of gnomes.
Now? Homie, you've been afraid of gnomes for a long time. I've had to hear how you are unsettled by gnomes.
Yeah, they're unsettling to me. But now I'm afraid that there's going to be a live one out in my backyard gargling and slurping something other than fish because I don't have those.
They're going to get your baby bunnies.
I was just going to say, and my babies are full grown and they'd be coming back every night.
Oh, you did good.
I know.
Kara resuscitated?
No, I didn't, they weren't dying. Okay, Judy is my backyard bunny, and Judy picked my yard to leave 5 of her babies over the summer. I was very happy that she did that because I took it upon myself to watch them and make sure that nothing killed them, and I took care of them when she wasn't around. And now I have at least have 3 of them that come back.
Cute.
I know. Anyway, that's my very unsettling story of evil gnomes / feral children or whatever we think that they are. But now I am thinking that maybe it was something mimicking what it thinks something, or maybe it's just mimicking what it thinks people look like, that they're little. I don't know. I hate it.
Either way, it's interesting. Definitely not going to get a koi pond anytime soon, but...
Or I'm not getting no garden gnomes either.
No, absolutely not. Although Denise might get you on that.
I was... the word was coming out. I was going to say, Denise, do not buy me one. I was literally saying that when you said that.
Oh, you're getting a gnome.
No, please don't. Because I'm going to feel so bad because I'm going to throw it out. But then I can't throw it out because it'll come alive. So I'm going to lock it in the barn. Oh my God.
You'll just have it behind like some Annabelle glass in your house. Anyways.
I can't.
Great job. Yep. New fear unlocked.
For sure. Thanks, Lynn.
All right. With that being said, does anybody else have stories
anybody? Oh, I thought you were like...
Where did you think I was going?
I was going to say, who else is here?
Yes, all of our friends.
Does anybody else want to...
Does anybody else have stories of garden gnomes or things coming alive in the middle of the night, slurping down your fish? Tell us about them.
Oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna go there.
And Kara still can't get a sentence together. She's doing wonderful today. So I'll say her usual. Go like, subscribe.
Do all the things.
Say the catchphrase. Do all the things. She just got so mad. You can't see her. She thought I was going to say her catchphrase, and she was pissed. So now is the time.
No, I can't even do it. Yeah. So as Zach said, like all the things. Subscribe. Talk to us on social media though, because it's actually kind of fun. I've been meeting a lot of people and like talking to a lot of people, and it's actually been really fun. So do all that, and per usual, creep it really, oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.